Said, we are here to go through our research for tonight's NBA and NHL games. Appreciate you guys being with us. Yesterday was a pretty good day in terms of the NBA. NHL was about a 50-50 split, but as we warned you, hockey is one of those harder things to predict, but we did okay across the board. NBA especially. Yes, the Warriors let us down. If not for the Warriors, it would have been a fantastic night, but we're still here doing our work and hopefully giving you guys a lot of good information for your sports bets, for fantasy sports, and hopefully we can provide you with some entertainment over the next hour, hour and a half. Appreciate all of you guys being with us, no matter the platform you're watching on, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. No matter where you're watching, hit that follow button, hit the subscribe button. We never ask for your money. We never ask for you guys to obviously pay for our picks. So obviously, just hit that follow button. Appreciate it. Crack Stats, thanks for just up. I know, I'm in the white tee today. Part of the reason why is I actually have to throw on a suit in a little bit, and I didn't want to put on the sweatshirt and get all hot and sweaty to then throw on the suit. So yeah, you're getting the dressed down version of Butt Fumble Sports today. I hope that's acceptable to all of you. Appreciate you guys being with us though, and appreciate you guys making the time. We have a lot to get to today, as I mentioned, NBA, NHL. We'll also obviously do player prop bets. So we're going to do our research. Appreciate you guys being with us. Whatever happened with the person calling you in your hotel? Oh, that was because it was 12:30 in the morning in Rome. And as you can tell, when I go into broadcast mode, I am speaking loud. I can project my voice straight through a hotel wall. So the people who were next to me were like, can this person please go to sleep? The hotel was calling me being like, your TV is being a little loud. Do you mind turning it down? And I was like, the TV's not on. And they were like, oh, can you be a little less loud? So I was like, okay, we need to call off the rest of the show. That's how things are going. Garrett Tilley, Drake, London, or a second round first pick? I would go with the second round first pick. Here's the only thing that actually would change my opinion. If Kirk Cousins goes to Atlanta, Garrett, I would maybe like Drake London a little bit more. We've seen with Kirk Cousins, whether it's Terry McLaurin, whether it's Justin Jefferson, we've seen star wide receivers perform well with Kirk Cousins, but actually with this wide receiver class that we're aware of now, I actually think there are a number of rookie wide receivers who actually could outperform Drake London. But if Kirk Cousins goes there, I certainly think that's a possibility. Drake May. Drake May is a big story across the NFL right now. Bizarre what's happening with J.J. McCarthy. Bizarre what's happening with Drake May. There was a time where Drake May was the consensus number 2 pick in this draft. Obviously, Jaden Daniels having the kind of season that he had changed a lot of that. Jaden Daniels has kind of moved up to number 2 in the eyes of many scouts and draft evaluators. But what's shocking to me, and we'll get to picks and research in a moment, but people are asking for some rants. I am stunned that J.J. McCarthy is making the move up the draft board that he is. I don't get it. I don't agree with it. It makes no sense to me. Jim Harbaugh is a quarterback-centric head coach. Jim Harbaugh is about throwing the football, using a dynamic quarterback. If J.J. McCarthy was that frickin' good at Michigan, why were they running the ball as frequently as they were? I understand the guy has decent accuracy, but he really hasn't been asked to do that much. Drake May, to me, is the better quarterback. I don't understand why J.J. McCarthy is now being talked about as potentially quarterback number 3 off the board, with Drake May falling to number 4. I actually think a lot of this is anti-UNC bias because of what happened with Mitch Trubisky, maybe anti-Duke UNC with what happened with Daniel Jones, but J.J. McCarthy, to me, is way overrated. Yeah, I get it. He's a winner. He went to Michigan and they won a national championship. He's done a lot of winning in his career. But have we seen J.J. McCarthy show any real offensive talent as a passer at Michigan? Maybe as a runner, maybe as a leader, whatever. I don't understand why he's moving up the draft boards like he is. I'm shocked by it, but then again, there's something to it. I also would say this. We have come now to expect the top quarterbacks at the combine to not throw because they're worried about their draft stock. Drake May, you should have thrown at the combine. Drake May, I think, would have dominated the combine. He would have been the darling of the combine if he had thrown, simply because he's got a massive arm and the combine is about showing off more than it is about actual skills. I thought J.J. McCarthy was actually kind of disappointing at the combine. You could see the accuracy is not incredible. The arm strength is not incredible. He's got good zip on the ball in terms of speed. But if Drake May had actually thrown, I think it would have been a much different rating or evaluation. I think Drake May would be solidified as the number 2 or 3 quarterback if he had thrown at the combine. He didn't. His loss. He'll lose out on a couple $1 million because of it. Anyways, there's just a quick opening rant for you guys about what's going on in the sports world. As always, we love ranting about what's going on, but we're also here to do some work, everybody. We got disappointed last night. Nets lost, Warriors lost, but other than that, we did really well in the NBA. NHL was about a 50-50 split, so we're here to do even better. We're going to dive into our research. We're going to give out picks. You guys know how we do. We give away our picks for free. So we're going to pull up Outlier. We're going to pull up killersports.com, and we're going to get to work, everybody. We have tonight a lot of NBA games, not so many NHL games. I believe there are 4 NHL games on the slate, so we should be able to roll through the NBA and NHL reasonably quickly, and that'll leave some time for player prop bets. Appreciate you joining us. Hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, and if you haven't already, if you want all my picks for free, DM me on Instagram. We give them away for free. I don't want your money. I don't want you to spend money on my picks. You work hard for your money. You should keep it in your pocket. We give away our picks for free because I freaking love sports. I love talking sports. I love doing research around sports. So if you're worried that I'm not making enough money doing this, don't. I love what I do, but you guys should hold on to your money and put it towards some of that, some of the picks that you have every day. Yes, it did, Dylan. The under did cash in the Heat game, and they're playing again tonight, so we'll talk about them as well. It is the NHL trade deadline. There's a lot of things going on. We're not really going to rant about that because most of you guys are like, I don't care about NHL trades. But it is the NHL trade deadline. Makes for some interesting news across Twitter, but we won't spend too much time on that. Where are we starting our show today? NBA game picks. We're going to start by doing our research, and we'll start with the Hornets and the Wizards. How is this game being bet by the public? So far, 67% of the tickets are on the Hornets to win. 89% of the money is on the Hornets to win. As for the spread, 69% of the bets are on the Hornets. 98% of the money is on the Hornets to cover a 2-point spread. So if you want to know where the public's going, if you want to know where the money's going, they are with the underdog Charlotte Hornets. And yes, I said underdog. Bizarrely, the Washington Wizards, despite a 9-53 record, they're the home favorite tonight. So that's where we're going to start. We pull up killersports.com, and we're going to go to our first bit of research today, and that's going to be looking at these two teams and how they've done against one another over the last few years. We're looking at the Wizards, and we're looking at the Hornets, and we're going to focus specifically at how these two teams have done when they have played in Washington. And let's look at some trends. Okay, so in the last 11 meetings between the two teams, that dates back to 2018, the Wizards have actually gone 7-4 straight up. Against the spread, though, Hornets have done better against the spread, going 6-5 against the spread in their last 2, 4, 6, 7 games in Washington. Actually, the Hornets have covered the spread 5 out of the last 7 times in Washington. So definitely something you want to take a look at there. Audio and video is really bad, YouTube. I'd rather watch you there, but I'm here because it's bad. Interesting. Well, let me know about that. We're going to keep our eye on that. I certainly want to make sure we're giving a better presentation across the board, no matter where we are. So I'm sorry it's a bad experience, Jennifer, but we'll do our best we can over here on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and Kick. Anyways, Hornets against the spread against the Wizards. Pretty good over the last few years. That's our first indication that we may like the Hornets in this game. Now let's look at how the Hornets have done over the course of the entire 2023 season on the road at first. That's what we're first going to look at. How have they done on the road? 7-24 straight up, 12-19 against the spread, 14-17 towards the under. How about them as a road underdog? Numbers are pretty similar, 7-24, 12-19 against the spread. Now, let's break down that sample size by a little bit, and let's see how they've done over the course of the last 2.5 months. as a road underdog. And again, we're focusing on the Hornets and the Wizards to start our work today. Over the last 16 games, Hornets are 4-16 straight up on the road as an underdog, 6-10 against the spread. Certainly don't like that. What I will call out, though, is in the last 6 games, the Hornets have covered the spread 4 times. Ever since the trade deadline, the Hornets have actually been a much better team covering the spread. Grant Williams has made a positive impact on that squad. So there's a little bit of reason to actually like this opportunity today, just because of how they've been playing recently. I'm quickly going to jump over here. I want to see one thing. How have the Hornets done when they have 2 days of rest and their opponent has 1 day of rest? I just want to see that really quick, because that's the scenario we're working with today. Not great news, I got to be honest. They're 0-4 straight up and 0-4 against the spread in that scenario. Kind of shocking, actually. One of those losses was to the Wizards. That came in November. But the other 3 games came against the Bucks, Bulls, and Pelicans. So can kind of understand it. But that is something that's a little bit concerning if you do like the Hornets to cover the spread tonight. Simply because they haven't done a good job of that over the course of the season. Now let's switch it over and let's see how the Washington Wizards have done as a home favorite this year. I'm going to warn you guys, the Wizards, their dog poop on your porch stink in the summertime. So let's see how they are as a home favorite. Wizards have only been a home favorite 2 times this season. Once against the Pistons, once against the Spurs. They lost and failed to cover in both of those games. Certainly stands out. That's in 2024 specifically. How about over the course of the entire 2023 season? How have the Wizards been as a home favorite all season long? They're 0-3 against the spread. They're 0-3 straight up. The over is 3-0. So, a few things to take note of. These are 2 bad teams. Maybe for that reason, you don't want to bet this game. If there isn't a good indication of which side actually has an advantage, maybe you want to avoid it. But personally, I actually am going to take the Hornets on the money line. Now, I am going with the money on this one. I love the fact that the sharp or smart money is coming down very heavily on the Hornets. Before we place the bet, though, let's see if we can get an injury report in here. Is there any injury report news that we want to be aware of? Isaiah Livers, Landry Shaman, and Marvin Bagley are all out for the Wizards. No shock there. Trey Mann is the only member of the Hornets who's a game-time decision. So the injuries, no shocker there. Let's look at the Hornets. If I were to take them, you could take them on a really good cover play. I think the Hornets are going to cover, let's say, a 6.5, 6-point spread. You could get Hornets at 6.5 at -210 on BetMGM, -220 on DraftKings, -225 on FanDuel. If you wanted to tighten that a little bit and go to maybe 5.5, Hornets plus 5.5, you could get that on -190 on DraftKings, -190 on BetMGM, -192 on FanDuel. I think the Hornets are going to cover that 5-point spread. Very tight, but I'll take Hornets plus 5.5. I'd also take the Hornets at plus 6.5. I think this is going to be around a 4 or 5-point game at worst for the Hornets. I think the Hornets could actually win outright, but I take the Hornets to cover 5.5, 6.5. I feel like the fact I'm getting them as an underdog against a shitty Wizards team is actually kind of an advantage for us over here at the better side of things. So I like the Hornets to cover that 5.5, 6-point spread. If you did go out and take the Hornets either to win or at a tighter spread, the original line, I actually think you're in a good spot. I'm just playing it very conservatively. That way I feel more confidence in cashing the ticket. But do I really have faith that the Wizards are going to win tonight? I really don't. I'd rather be on the side of the Hornets. That's the first game we just broke down. We are not going to play the total. Nothing about the total stands out. There are things from both sides that kind of get to me. On one hand, the under's a strong play. When these two teams have met over the last few years, the under's a strong play towards the Hornets. But then again, the over's the better play towards the Wizards. Because there's that discrepancy, we don't really have, as I like to mention to you guys, I'm looking for like a constellation of variables. I don't just want one thing pointing me in a certain direction. I want to see multiple variables pointing me all in the same direction. Because I don't see that towards the total, I'll just avoid it altogether. And one thing I always want to tell you guys, there's no reason for you to bet on every game. There's no reason for you to bet on everything. I put out picks because I want to give you guys like a smorgasbord of options. I want to give you the Golden Corral buffet of picks so you guys can self-serve and take the picks you like, avoid the ones you don't, and that way you can build the ultimate betting roster for yourselves. But that doesn't mean you should follow every bet I make. It doesn't mean you should bet on every game. If there's something that just doesn't align with your thinking, avoid it. If there aren't good pieces of data to really support certain things, don't touch it. Don't spend your money on it. We value your dollar. We value your money. We certainly don't want to just be throwing it away without a real consensus or a real understanding of why we're doing it. So, do I like the Hornets to cover? I do. I take them at plus 5.5, but I'm not going to bet the total in this game. Just not enough of an indication to really get me excited, so I'm going to avoid that one today. With that said, let's go to our second game of the night. That's going to be the Pelicans and the 76ers. How's the public betting this game? 94% of the tickets are on the Pelicans to win. 82% of the money is on the 76ers. That is one of those discrepancies that has me worried a little bit. The public's going on the side of the Pelicans to win. The money's going on the side of the 76ers to win. We'll have to look at the trends to see if there's something about that has us kind of nervous about taking the Pelicans or has us excited about taking the 76ers. 76ers are a home underdog. Pelicans have been cooking of late. Pelicans are playing good basketball. So something to be said for the fact that the money isn't on them. The money's on the 76ers. We should keep our eye on it. As for the spread, different story on this one. 66% of the tickets are on the Pelicans to cover a 7.5 point spread. 99% of the money is on the Pelicans to cover the spread. So you can see the discrepancy here. Yes, the money likes the 76ers to win. The money also likes the Pelicans to cover. Makes you wonder what the bettors are thinking out there in Vegas or across the world. Something's going on with this game and it stinks. As for the total, we only have an underplay. Under 58% of the tickets, or 58% of the tickets are on the under. We don't have any data about how the money's coming in. Let's take a quick look at the injury report for this game. Fortunately for the Pelicans, no news on the injury front. Everyone seems to be okay. Nicholas Batum is a game-time decision for the 76ers. Tyrese Maxey is out. Let me repeat that. Tyrese Maxey is out for this game tonight with a concussion. That's for about 1 hour old. Tyrese Maxey's not playing. So the 76ers are already without Joel Embiid. Now they're going to be without Tyrese Maxey. Makes you wonder why anyone would want the 76ers. But before we make those kinds of assumptions, let's go look at some trends, everybody. We're going to look at how the Pelicans have done against the 76ers over the last few years. I will admit, this data is not going to have as much sway on me as it normally would, because those games have involved Joel Embiid. Now, interesting to note, the 76ers have actually gone 5-0 against the Pelicans in their last 5 meetings in Philadelphia. That would be a great trend maybe if Tyrese Maxey was playing. If Joel Embiid was playing, it'd be a phenomenal trend. But frankly, doesn't mean much to me with the 2 stars of the Philadelphia 76ers on the bench. That said, the spread trend has my attention. The Pelicans, despite going 0-5 straight up against the 76ers in Philly, they're 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games against the 76ers. So at worst, I can say the Pelicans have felt comfortable enough to keep the games close when Joel Embiid has been on the floor or Tyrese Maxey has been on the floor. Keep your eye on that. 4-1 against the spread for the Pelicans in their last 5 in Philly. As for the total, it's these two teams have gone over the total 4 of the 5 games they've played against each other in Philadelphia since 2018. Let's dive into how the Pelicans have done over the course of the entire 2023 season as an away favorite. They're an away favorite today. Great news on this front. So far this season, all season long, the Pelicans have been a road favorite 15 times. They have gone to the winnings. They've won 10 of the 15, and most of those have actually come since December, mid-December. Actually, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Their last 12 games as a road favorite, they've won 13 of them, and they have covered 8 of them, 7 of them. So pretty good on the winning side, not great on the cover side, but you have to like the Pelicans on the money line based on that trend. Let's take a look at it since the calendar turned to 2024. We always like to bring down that season-long sample size because who you were in November and December might not be a good representation of who the team is now. Last 2.5 months is a better look at it. Over the last 8 games, this is in 2024. The Pelicans have been a road favorite 8 times in 2024. They've gone 6-2 straight up, only 4-4 against the spread, but they've covered the spread in 3 of their last 4 games as a road favorite. I love the Pelicans. Again, before we get into making the pick, I will quickly look at the 76ers as a home underdog. 76ers as a home underdog in 2023. They're 2-5 straight up, 2-5 against the spread as a road underdog. And most of those games have obviously come in November or in March. The under has also gone 5-2. So under's been a pretty good play when the 76ers have been a home underdog. Let's see, again, just looking at it in 2024. 76ers as a home underdog since the calendar turned to 2024. They're 1-4 straight up. They're 1-4 against the spread, and the under is 4-1. Guys, I'm not going to overthink this one. Pelicans on the money line. Pelicans on the money line is the bet I like. Now let's take a look at the spread really quickly. I do like the Pelicans to cover a spread, maybe not 7.5. If I look at the margin of difference actually for the Pelicans in 2024 as an away favorite, margin of difference has been 12 points. So they've actually done a pretty good job. If I look since the start of February, the margin of difference has been 11 points for the Pelicans since the start of February, so the last month and a half. Pretty good indication of the fact Pelicans have been a very hot team. They've been playing really well. I kind of like the Pelicans actually to cover the spread, not 7.5. Let's look for another opportunity. Now, the spread opened at 3.5. It then jumped to -8. Why? Tyrese Maxey. The news, obviously the money coming down on the Pelicans in a heavy, heavy way. But this opened at 3.5 and it moved to 8. I kind of like that 3.5. I think the Pelicans can cover a 3.5 point spread. If I think that, I like it. -200 is what I'm seeing. You could get -3.5 for the Pelicans at -200 on BetMGM, -215 on DraftKings, and -220 on FanDuel. That's exactly what I would take. I would take it at what the original line was set at. That's Pelicans -3.5. If you wanted to take it at -4, -4.5, I'd be okay with that one as well. I actually think -4, -4.5. I think this is going to cover. I think the Pelicans win by about 5-6 points at the worst. I really like the Pelicans in this one. And frankly, it's the lack of star power for the 76ers. Unless the bench has a massive day, we'll obviously look at player prop bets in a little bit. Pelicans should win this game. Pelicans should cover a 3.5, 4-point spread. So I like Pelicans on the money line. Pelicans -3.5 all the way up to Pelicans -4.5. That's what I'm going to be taking for this one. Now, as for the total in this game, right now it's set at 221.5. Didn't get a great indication of where the over-under is going to play. Frankly, the two teams have played towards the over in the last 5 meetings, but the under's been the stronger trend when the 76ers are a home underdog. The fact that we've got things going in opposite directions, not enough conviction around the total. I won't bet the total. If I were to, I'd probably take the under. For those who want to bet the total in this game, I think take the under. Obviously raise it up a little bit, maybe under 224.5, under 225.5. In fact, let's just quickly see what that's being offered at for any of those who want to bet the total. It opened at 226. It's come down to 221.5. That's certainly appealing to me. But you could get under 225.5. You could get under 226 at -165 on BetMGM, -180 on DraftKings, and -182 on FanDuel. I got to admit, I actually love those odds. I love where this is being offered. I wasn't going to bet the total simply because of the discrepancy in the total points. But I do kind of like the under in this one. Under's gone 4-4 in the last 8 games the Pelicans have played as a road favorite. but the under has actually gone 4-2 in the last 6 games under that scenario. Right now, by the way, that margin, that total score for the Pelicans since 2024 started is right around 222. I'm going to take the under. Didn't expect to be taking it, but I love where it's being offered. I can raise this up even a little bit more. I can take under 227.5. Really like that. So again, under 227.5 is available. Minus 190 on BetMGM. Minus 195 on DraftKings. Minus 198 on FanDuel. These are all strong opportunities for us. I'm going to take it. Didn't expect to, but when the opportunity comes around, we'll jump on it. Pelicans, 76ers under 227.5. Feel very good about that play just based on where it's being offered. Again, doesn't mean you guys need to bet on it. Means that's a trend I like, or there's data I like, or there's a market that I like. But just because I'm putting it on my board doesn't mean you need to completely follow. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. You guys pick and choose which bets of mine you want to place for yourself. But I'm just giving out information based on the market, based on how the public's betting it, based on how the sharp money's coming down, and of course based on the trends. So, we've covered 2 games so far in the NBA tonight. Here's a recap of the first 2 games that we have. Hornets, plus 5.5 or plus 6.5. And I like the Pelicans on the money line. I like Pelicans minus 3.5 all the way up to minus 4.5. And I like Pelicans 76ers under 227.5. Let's go to our next game on the schedule, everyone. Next one, Timberwolves Cavaliers. Before I get into this game, I gotta say one thing. Anthony Edwards is him. I don't know if you guys have been caught up in the Twitter storm where we have all watched multiple highlights of that game, but Anthony Edwards, I don't want to say this prematurely. Last night was the closest thing I've seen to a modern day Michael Jordan in some time. He literally took over the game in the fourth quarter, and he physically took over the game in the last 3-4 minutes of that game. From his shooting, to his drives, to his defense, unfreaking believable. Did I think Anthony Edwards was already a superstar? Yes. Did I think he was already a modern day style of Michael Jordan in terms of play style? Yes. I have not seen anybody do what Anthony Edwards did in some time. I know a lot of LeBron James fans are going to be like, LeBron James does that all the time. Not like that, he doesn't. LeBron James is usually as much a facilitator as he is a guy who takes over. I know a few weeks ago against the Clippers, I know he went off for like 19 points in the fourth quarter. But Anthony Edwards like single-handedly won that game. And maybe more impressive to me, it was the same day in which Karl Anthony Towns was announced to be out with a meniscus tear. So if you're a member of the Timberwolves, you wouldn't have been shocked if there had been kind of a letdown. The team should have probably won last night. Probably, we talked about it. We like the Timberwolves to cover. I wasn't surprised by the fact that they ended up getting a win. But what we saw from Anthony Edwards was special. And I know Twitter went off. I know ESPN can't stop talking about it enough. By the way, if you haven't heard Skip Bayless's take, it goes to prove that Skip Bayless is a dumbass who has his head so far up his ass he literally could speak through his throat. But that said, I am just amazed by what Anthony Edwards did. It was incredibly impressive, and it gives me a lot of confidence in the Timberwolves moving forward in ways I didn't before. I was worried that this team couldn't survive without Karl Anthony Towns. Because Anthony Edwards, he just went into the phone booth, he put on the cape, he put on the S across his chest, and Superman showed up last night. That was as impressive a block in a regular season game as I have ever seen. Is it on the level of LeBron James blocking Iguodala? No. That was for an NBA championship. I don't want to go crazy. LeBron James blocking Iguodala was the bigger block in NBA history. I'm not losing my head. But in terms of a regular season block, that's as big as it gets. And by the way, when you bump your head on the rim, Jesus, what ups. Unbelievable. Now, let's get into tonight's game specifically. Timberwolves, Cavaliers. 58% of the tickets are on the Cavaliers to win. 82% of the money is on the Cavaliers to win. As for the spread, 51% of the tickets, only 51% of the tickets are on the Timberwolves to cover the spread. The spread right now is 2.5. 86% of the money is on the Cavaliers to cover the spread. So, the public is kind of on the fence. The money really likes the Cavaliers. We're going to keep our eye on that over the course of the show, see if anything changes around that. Let's go to the injury report, everybody. This game, by the way, Timberwolves opened as a favorite. Timberwolves opened as a 1-point favorite and have since become an underdog of 2.5. And part of the reason for that, Anthony Edwards is a game-time decision with left ankle soreness. First of all, I'm amazed he didn't break his wrist when he came down from that block. Like, he landed with almost all of his weight on his wrist at a very uncomfortable position. I'm amazed that Anthony Edwards bounced right back up and was right into celebration mode, because there was a moment there that I actually thought the Timberwolves season was over, because if Anthony Edwards goes down along with Karl Anthony Towns, like, that's it. Rudy Gobert ain't putting that S on his chest. We know that dude disappears in big moments. But Anthony Edwards is a game-time decision tonight. That kind of impacts my thinking. I really love the Timberwolves to cover a spread. I'll talk about that in a bit. But if Anthony Edwards is deemed out, I don't. So, for all of those that want to bet this game, you might want to wait until we have definitive word on whether Anthony Edwards plays or not. A little bit of concern there. Jennifer, when you say the money likes someone, you mean my money likes it or Vegas money wants it? Vegas money. It means that the people who spend a lot of money on sports betting, who usually know a little bit something more than the public, they're putting their money on it. Whether it's the very heavy bettors or whether it's people who are in the know. When I say the money is betting something, I mean the guys who do this for a living. Not us casual fans, not us members of the public who are placing bets. The guys in Vegas who do this for a living, who place $100,000 bets, $500,000 bets. Those guys are putting their bets. That's when I say the money, that's who I'm referring to. The public, that's the casual fan. The money, those are the people who have made sports betting their living. So that's where I say when the money is going in a direction, I'm telling you, that's when the people who really know what they're doing and do this for a living, that's the direction they are going in. And I tend to want to follow them more than the public. The public bets with its eyes. I saw the Timberwolves win. I saw that Donovan Mitchell's out. The public bets with its gut, bets with its eyes. The sharp money, the money, they bet with their mind. They also bet with knowledge that maybe we don't have, because those guys are in the know in ways that the public usually is not. So that's just an explanation for you there. Let's take a look at the trends for this game. We're looking at Timberwolves, and we're going to look at Cavaliers. And again, we're looking at how these two teams have done against each other in Cleveland over the past few years. Wow. I hope Anthony Edwards is playing tonight. About that UAB Temple game, there are actual companies right now, but specifically across college basketball, because they had some very unusual betting act. One of the reasons when we talk about how things are coming down or cheating or point shaving, but there's just a little bit more going on there. A little bit more. Yeah, crack stats. Spreads don't shift 6 points like that Temple game. Normally we don't see that unless there's something obvious like an injury. But when there's nothing new and things jump in that direction, something stinks. Anyways, getting back to this Timberwolves and Cavaliers game, Timberwolves have gone 4-1 in their last 5 games in Cleveland. So Timberwolves have done a very good job in that scenario. They're 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games against the Cavaliers in Cleveland. Again, I really hope Anthony Edwards plays. That would certainly contribute to the idea that that trend can hold up. Let's look at the Timberwolves as an away underdog. Interesting here. Timberwolves are 5-6 on the season as a road underdog. However, as a road underdog, they've won their last 3 games, they've covered their last 4, and they've covered 5 of their last 6 as a road underdog. Very interesting. And by the way, their 4 covers, the 4 covers they've had in a row, were against the Celtics, the Thunder, the Clippers, and the Pacers. Those are 4 really good teams. So the fact that the Timberwolves aren't just winning, but they're covering the spread against very good opponents makes me think well of them. But again, that's with Anthony Edwards on the floor. If he's not there, definitely changes my thinking. Now, let's cut down that sample size just a little bit. I know we just spoke about it, but this is the exercise we do. since the start of 2024 as a road underdog. Sorry, I got to put this as a road underdog, not as a road favorite. As a road underdog, the Timberwolves are 3-1 straight up, 4-0 against the spread. The under is 3-1. That total actually might be really interesting to us if Anthony Edwards doesn't play. Let's take a look at the Cavaliers now. Cavaliers, as a home favorite in 2023, are 17-7 as a home favorite, but against the spread, they have a sub 500 record. As a home favorite in 2023 over the course of the season, the Cavaliers are 11-12-1 against the spread. Definitely something that's very interesting to note. But if we cut down that sample size even more, it gets even more interesting for us. As a home favorite in 2024, the Cavaliers are 9-3 straight up, but they're just 5-7 against the spread. And actually, the Cavaliers have failed to cover the spread in 5 straight games as a home favorite. So while we saw the Timberwolves have not lost as a road underdog, or they haven't failed to cover the spread as a road underdog in 2024, the Cavaliers have really struggled to cover the spread since about February 12th. They played 5 games since then. They failed to cover the spread in all 5. Keep in mind, too, that without Donovan Mitchell, one of the reasons why that could be the case. Now, I do want to check out one other trend here. Tonight, Cavaliers are coming off 1 day of rest. Timberwolves are playing the second night of a back-to-back. I want to see how the Cavaliers have done over the course of the season when they're playing an opponent on 0 days of rest. So, when the Cavaliers have faced an opponent on 0 days of rest, they're 8-3 straight up. They're 8-3 against the spread. However, they've lost their last 3 games under that scenario. Their last 3 games against a team on the second night of a back-to-back, they've lost all 3 of them. They failed to cover in all 3 of them. However, all 3 of those games, the Cavaliers were also coming off a second night of a back-to-back. So, those 3 games may not be as good an indication as this. When the Cavaliers have 1 day of rest, but their opponent has 0 days of rest, the Cavaliers are 6-0 straight up, and they're 6-0 against the spread. That stands out to me, guys. As much as I like the Timberwolves, that trend really stands out to me. Again, let me repeat that in case any of you missed it. Over the course of this entire season, when the Cavaliers have 1 day of rest, but their opponent is on 0 days of rest, Cleveland has gone 6-0 straight up and 6-0 against the spread. I'm not going to fight that one. As much as I want to, I'm not fighting that one. Again, we go back to how the money's betting this game. The money loves the Cavaliers. There's something to that, guys, and this trend backs it up. The Cavaliers are undefeated straight up and against the spread when they're a 1-game rest advantage. Can you do the calculation without Garland? And no, I can't. I can't do that. I can't do what you're asking for there. By the way, I'm not seeing Garland on an injury report. Going back to that injury report really quick, I'm seeing Max Strus is out. I'm seeing Evan Mobley is out. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell is out. Tristan Thompson, he's out with a suspension. But I'm seeing Darius Garland is in the lineup. So unless you're getting word that I'm not, sounds like Evan Mobley's out, Donovan Mitchell's out, Max Strus is out, but it sounds like Darius Garland is playing. I'm going to split this one. I'm going to go in different directions on this. I like the Cavaliers on the money line. I do like Cavaliers on the money line. By the way, before I do that, I do want to check the other side of it. When the Timberwolves are on 0 days of rest and their opponent has 1 day of rest, Timberwolves have gone 4-1 straight up, but 2-3 against the spread. Kind of interesting there. Just taking a look at it. Always curious about it. But I am going to take the Cavaliers on the money line, guys. I'll take Cavaliers on the money line. It's where I'm going to come down. I do kind of like the Timberwolves to cover the spread, but not at 2.5. 2.5 feels like a trap. I'm going to bump that up. If I could get the Timberwolves at a good spot, plus 6.5. Love that. I could get Timberwolves plus 6.5 at minus 190 on BetMGM, minus 215 on FanDuel, minus 220 on DraftKings. That's exactly what I'm going to take tonight. I'll take Cavaliers on the money line. I'm going to take Timberwolves plus 6.5. I'm going to be on both sides of this one. I think it'll be about a 5-point difference in this game. Only concern I have is when the Cavaliers, again, in that situation, when the Cavaliers have been on that 1 day of rest advantage, when the Cavaliers have had that 1 day of rest advantage, the margin of difference has been pretty heavy. So if you don't want to take that spread play with the Timberwolves, I totally get it. Cavaliers on the money line, that's the bet I really like in this game. Cavaliers on the money line, that's the one I'd really recommend to you guys. Certainly feels like a good play. We'll get to player prop bets in a little bit, but yes, Jared Allen does have my attention, given the fact that with Evan Mobley out, Jared Allen's become a much bigger part of that offense. Okay, let's take a quick look at the total for this game. Timberwolves and Cavaliers, the total right now is set at 206. 61% of the tickets are on the under. 69% of the money is on the under. I'm not going to bet the total for this game. If I had to go in any direction, the under feels like a slightly better play, but frankly, with all the star power that's out in this game, don't have a good indication for how these offenses are going to play, so I'm going to avoid the total. I like Cavaliers on the money line, like that one a lot. I do like the Timberwolves to cover 6.5. I don't have the same conviction level in it, but I like that bet just enough. If Anthony Edwards plays, let me put that actually, if Anthony Edwards plays. If Anthony Edwards doesn't play, I like Cavaliers across the board. Cavaliers on the money line, Cavaliers minus 2.5, but it's all predicated on whether Anthony Edwards plays. If he plays, I like the Timberwolves to cover 6.5. If he doesn't play, just take the Cavaliers, be heavy about it. So, don't like the total in the game, allows us to move on. Next game we're going to focus on, the Orlando Magic against the New York Knicks. Okay, 56% of the tickets are on the Magic to win. 55% of the money is on the Magic to win. So kind of a split decision. The Magic are a 1.5 point favorite, but there isn't a real discrepancy here. The public and the money, they're just barely on the side of the Magic, but not a huge conviction rate for either the public or the money. Kind of interesting there. As for the spread, 71% of the tickets are on the Orlando Magic to cover that 1.5 point spread, while the Knicks are getting 46% of the money. So, kind of interesting there. The Orlando Magic are getting more of the public tickets, getting less of the sharp money. Just something to keep our eye on. Let's go look at some trends, everybody. But before we do, injury report. The Orlando Magic, by the way, when this game opened up for bettors, the Orlando Magic were a 1.5 point underdog. They have since become the favorite. So we've seen that line move. Orlando started at plus 1.5. They're now going off at minus 1.5. So that just gives you an indication of how the money's come in and how the sportsbook has shifted the odds over the course of the last, 5-6 hours. Injury report for this game. Wendell Carter is a game-time decision for the Magic. Wendell Carter, right knee soreness, game-time decision. He is the only member of the Magic who's questionable for tonight. Everyone else is healthy. Jalen Brunson is questionable for tonight. Left knee bruise. He is game-time decision. I expect Jalen Brunson to play tonight, but he is being listed as a game-time decision as of now. Let's go take a look at the trends, everyone. We're looking at Magic. We're looking at Knicks. How have these two teams done against one another when they've played in New York City? Okay. These two teams have had 9 meetings since 2018 at Madison Square Garden. The Orlando Magic have gone 4-5 straight up, 5-4 against the spread. One thing to note, in the last 4 meetings between the two teams in New York, the Magic have actually won 3 of the last 4. So if I shrink this sample size to since 2020, even 2021, the Magic since 2021 against the New York Knicks have gone 3-1 straight up and 3-1 against the spread. That really stands out to me. The Magic have done a good job playing the Knicks in New York over the last few years. So, gives me a reason to like the Magic. However, I'm going to expand this sample size to show you, since 2018, when these two teams have played in New York, the under is 7-1-1. Keep your eye on the under. We're going to talk about it when it comes to this game, but we'll focus on the money line and the spread first. But the under is very attractive for me in this game. Keep your eye on that. Let's take a look at how the Magic have done as a road favorite over the course of the season. All season long, the Magic have been a road favorite 9 times. Not to sound like Ferris Bueller, but 9 times they've been a road favorite. The Magic have gone 8-1 straight up as a road favorite this season. They are 7-2 against the spread as a road favorite. Man, you think we like the Magic tonight? These trends are all favoring the Magic. Let's break that down since the start of the new year. Since the calendar turned to 2024, when the Magic have been a road favorite in 2024, they are 5-1 straight up. They're 4-2 against the spread. Oh, and by the way, the under's 4-2. So that under trend still playing in our favor. How about the Knicks? How have the Knicks been as a home underdog this year? That's all season long. When the Knicks have been a home underdog all season long, they're 3-7 straight up. They're 3-6-1 against the spread. They actually have lost their last 5 games at home as a home underdog, and not only have they lost, they have failed to cover the spread. So guys, this is an easy one for me. I'm taking not only the Magic on the money line, give me the Magic -1.5. If I just follow the trends, Magic at Madison Square Garden, last 4 meetings, they've won, they've covered the spread 3 out of the 4 times. The Magic, as a road favorite all season long, 8-1 straight up, 7-2 against the spread. The Knicks, as a home underdog, 3-7 straight up, 3-6-1 against the spread, and they have a 5-game home losing streak as an underdog, and they failed to cover the spread every time. I love the fact that I can get the Magic right now at just -1.5. I feel like that's a very attractive spread, because do I think this is going to be a blowout for the Magic? No. I think it's still going to be a pretty close game, but could I see them winning by 2 points or more? Absolutely. So that's absolutely the bet for me on this one. Magic on the money line, Magic -1.5. Feel very good about that one based on the trends. And again, Wendell Carter is out for the Magic, but other than that, everyone else is healthy. Jalen Brunson is questionable for the Knicks. They're already missing OG Anunoby. They're already missing Julius Randle. So Jalen Brunson's really the only star power they have on that squad. A lot of reason to like the Magic tonight. Now, I mentioned it to you guys before, the under. Super attractive to me on this one. Now,